Welcome to Wings of Fire Dreams. Today we are going to see the topic Early Revolts Against British Rule in Tamil Nadu. The contents are taken from 10th Standard Social Science book. Early Revolts Against British Rule in Tamil Nadu. After defeating French and their Indian allies in three Carnatic wars, the East India Company started expanding. Local kings and feudal chieftains resisted this. Pulithevar of Nerkattum Semmal in Tirunelveli was the first resistance from Tamil Nadu, followed by Velunachiyar, VeerapandyaKattaboman, Marudu brothers, and Veeran Chinnamalai. This is known as Palayakarar War or Velur Revolt 1806, resistance of regional powers against British. Palayams and Palayakars. Word Palayam means domain or military camp or little kingdom. Palayakarars are referred as Buligars by British. Palayam is given to valuable military service person. This type of Palayakara system was in practice during Prataparutra of Varangal in Kakatiya kingdom. This was put in place in Tamil Nadu by Vishwanath Nayaka when he became Nayak ruler of Madurai in 1529 with support of his minister Ariyanathar. There were supposed to be 72 Palayakar by tradition. Palayakarars are free to collect revenue, administer the territory, and maintain law and order. Their policy duties are known as Padikaval or Arasakaval. Palayakara system lasted for 200 years. Eastern Palayams include Satur, Nagalapuram, Etayapuram, and Panjalankuruchi. Western Palayams include Udumalai, Talavankotai, Seidur, Naduvakuruchi, and Singampatti. Revenue collection authority to company rule. Nawab of Arcot had borrowed money from East India Company for his expenses during Carnatic wars. When his debts exceeded his capacity to repay, he handed over the power of collecting taxes from southern Palayams to British. But the Palayakaras claimed that land was with them for 60 generations and refused to pay tax to the British. The British branded those Palayakaras as rebels and accused them of trying to disturb peace and tranquility. Palayakaras Revolt. Revolt of Pulithevar 1755 to 1767. Pulithevar was the Palayakarar of Tirunelveli. Mahfuz Khan, brother of Nawab, was sent with Colonel Heron to south in March 1755. Madurai fell into their hands easily. Then Colonel Heron was urged to death with a deal with Pulithevar as he continued to defy British authority. But for want of cannon and supply of pay to soldiers, Colonel Heron abandoned the plan and retired to Madurai. For this, Colonel Heron was recalled and dismissed. Confederacy and alliance with enemies of British. Support of Pulithevar. Three Padan officers, Nawab Chanda Sahib agents named Mayana, Mudia, and Nabikan Katak, and the French rulers. All Maravar Palayams except Sivagiri, Yettaipuram, Pudukkottai tried to get Hyder Ali power also, but he was busy with fight in Maratha support for British. Arcot Nawab Muhammad Ali, Rajas of Ramanathapuram and Pudukkottai. Kalakadu battle. Arcot Nawab Muhammad Ali sent 600 extra soldiers to his brother Mahfuz Khan in addition to 1000 British. But before Mahfuz Khan could reach Calacar, 2000 soldiers from Travancore joined Pulithevar force. Pulithevar group won the battle. Yusuf Khan and Pulithevar. Yusuf Khan, also known as Khan Sahib, before conversion to Islam, Marudanayagam was sent by the company to attack Pulithevar. But Yusuf Khan was not prepared to attack Pulithevar unless the big guns and ammunition arrived from British. As the British were at war with French and Hyder Ali with Marathas, The expected artillery reached Yusuf Khan in September 1760. Then, Yusuf Khan began to batter Nerkatum Seval fort, and attack continued for 2 months. On May 16, 1761, Puliteva's three fort, Nerkatum Seval, Vasudevanallur, and Panayur, came under Yusuf control. Meanwhile, British eliminated French by taking Pondicherry from them, which, which booked the unity of Palayakarars as French support was not coming. Travancore, Saidur, Udumalai, and Surandai switched their loyalty to British. Yusuf Khan, who was negotiating with Palayakarars without informing company admin, was charged and hanged in 1764. Fall of Pulitevar. After the death of Yusuf Khan, Pulitevar recaptured Nerkatum Seval in 1764. He was defeated by Captain Campbell in 1767. He escaped and died in exile. Ondiviran led one of the army units of Pulitevar. He caused much damage to British army, where once his hand was chopped off. He said that it was a reward for penetration into enemy's fort and causing many heads to roll. Velunachiyar, 1730 to 1796. Born in 1730 to Raja Sellamuttu Sedupati of Ramanathapuram, Velunachiyar was the only daughter of a royal family. The king had no male heir. Velunachiyar was trained in Valari, stick fighting to wield weapons, horse riding, archery, proficiency in English, French, and Urdu. At the age of 16, she was married to Muttu Vadugar, Raja of Sigagangai, and had a daughter named Velunachiyar. Veluchina Veluchi Nachiyar. In 1772, Nawab and British under Colonel Bonjour stormed Kalayarkoil Palace. Muthu Vadugar was killed. Velu Nachiyar escaped and lived under the protection of Gopala Nayaka at Virupachi near Dindukal for 8 years. During her hiding, she organized an army and succeeded in securing alliance with Hyder Ali. Dalave, also known as military chief, Tandavarayanar, wrote a letter to Sultan Hyder Ali on behalf of Velunachiyar asking for 5,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry to defeat English. Velunachiyar's explanation in Urdu impressed Hyder Ali. He ordered his commandant Syed in Dindukal fort to provide required military assistance to her. Velunachiyar employed agents for gathering intelligence to find where British stored ammunition. With military assistance from Gopala Nayak and Hyder Ali, she recaptured Sivagangai. She was first female ruler to resist British in India. Facts about Gopala Nayak. Gopala Nayak spearheaded the famous Dindukal League, which was formed with Lakshmi Nayak of Manaparai and Pujai Nayak of Devadanapatti. He drew inspiration from Tipu Sultan. He resisted British in Coimbatore with Umadurai. He put a fierce fight at Anemalai Hills where local peasants gave his full support, but he was overpowered by British forces in 1801. Facts about Quili. Quili, a faithful friend of Velunachiyar, is said to have led the unit of women soldiers named after Udayal. Udayal was a shepherd girl who was killed for not divulging information about Quili. Quili is said to have walked into British arsenal in 1780 after setting herself on fire, thus destroying all ammunition. Rebellion of VeerapandyaKattaboman, 1792-1799. VeerapandyaKattaboman became the Palayakarar of Panjalam Kuruchi after his father's death at the age of 30. His father was Jagaveera Pandya Kattaboman. Company's administrators, James London and Colin Jackson, consider him a man of peace, as the Nawab has already signed a treaty in 1781 that one-sixth of the revenue was to be paid as tax for British. The company appointed the collectors to collect taxes from all Palayams. Confrontation with Jackson. The land revenue arrear from Kattaboman was 3,310 pagodas in 1798. Collector Jackson was an arrogant officer who made Kattaboman's effort to meet him as vain. At last, on 19 September 1798, it is said that Kattaboman had to stand for 3 hours before him. Sensing danger, Kattaboman tried to escape along with his minister Sivasubramanian. Umaithurai, Kattaboman's brother, helped him to escape. At the Ramanathapuram port, lieutenant clerks were killed. Sivasubramaniam was taken as prisoner. Appearance before Madras Council. On his return to Panjalankuruchi, Kattaboman wrote to Madras Council about how he was ill-treated by Jackson. Council asked Kattaboman to appear before a committee with William Oram, and John Casamajor. Meanwhile, Governor Edward Clive ordered the release of Siva Subramania and suspension of Jackson. Kattaboman appeared before committee on 15 December 1798 and reported what happened in Ramanathapuram fort. Committee found Kattaboman was not guilty. Jackson was dismissed and new collector S.R. Lushington was appointed. Kattaboman cleared almost all revenue arrears, drawing a balance of 1,080 pagodas. Kattaboman and the Confederacy of Palayakarars. Meanwhile, Marudu Pandiyar of Sivagiri formed the South Indian Confederacy of rebels against British with the Gopal Nayak of Dindikal and Yadul Nayak of Anaimalai. Kattaboman was interested in joining this confederacy, but Collector Lushington warned him not to join. Negotiating the collector, Kattaboman gave his support for the confederacy and also he tried to get Sivagiri Palayakarars as well. But Sivagiri Palayakarars didn't join and Kattaboman became a challenge to the company. Siege of Panjalanguruchi. In May 1799, Lord Wellesley issued orders from Madras for the advance of forces from Tiruchi, Tanjavur and Madurai to Tirunelveli. Travancore troops joined the British and Major Bannerman commanded the troops. On 1 September 1799, an ultimatum was served on Kattaboman to surrender, but Kattaboman's evasive reply prompted Bannerman to start the fight in Panjalanguruchi on 5th September. Bannerman depicted Ramalinganar to convey a message stating Kattaboman to surrender. Again, Kattaboman refused. Ramalinganar gathered all the secrets of the fort and Bannerman attacked, where Sivasubramaniam is taken as prisoner. Execution of Kattaboman. Kattaboman escaped to Pudukottai. British put price for his head. Betrayed by the Palayakarars of Etaipuram and Pudukottai, Kattaboman was captured. He was hanged on a tamarind tree in the old fort of Kayathar in front of the fellow Palayakarars on 16 October 1799. Sivasubramaniar was hanged on 13 September 1799 at Nagalapuram. Marudu brothers. Periya Marudu or Vella Marudu and Chinna Marudu are the able generals of Muthuvadigar of Sivagangai. After Muthuvadigar's death, they assisted Velunachiyar in restoring Sivagangai. After the death of Kattaboman, they worked along Umaithurai rebellion of Marudu brothers 1800 to 1801. Despite the suppression of Kattaboman's revolt in 1799, rebellion broke out again in 1800. This is called Second Palekarar War. Now the confederacy consists of Marudu Pandian of Sivagangai, Gopala Nayak of Dindikal, Kerala Varman of Malabar, and Krishnaraya Nayak and Dundaji in Mysore. In 1800, they met all the they met at Virupachi and organized an uprising against company. This uprising broke out in Coimbatore and soon spread to Ramanathapuram and Madurai. The company declared war on Malabar and Mysore. The Palayakarars of Coimbatore, Satyamangalam, and Tarapuram were caught and changed. In February 1801, two brothers of Kattaboman, Umadurai and Sevataya, escaped from Palayangotai prison and reached Kamudi. From there, Chinnamarudu took them to Sirvayal. Meantime, uh, Panjalamkuruchi fort was reconstructed, but the British troops under Colin Mackinlay retook the fort in April, and the Marudu brothers went back to Sivagangai. British ordered the Marudu brothers to surrender Umaidurai and Sevai- Sevataya, but they refused. Colonel Agnew and Colonel Innes marched on Sivagangai. Proclamation of 1801. In June 1801, Marudu Pandyas issued a proclamation of independence called as Tiruchirappalli Proclamation. This proclamation was pasted on walls of Nawab's palace in Tiruchirappalli fort and on walls of Sivagangai temple. Chinnamarudu collected to 20,000 men against British reinforcements were rushed from Bengal and Ceylon. And the Rajas of Pudukkottai, Ettayapuram and Tanjavur stood by British side. Fall of Sivagangai. British used divide and rule policy and attacked the rebels in Tiruchirappalli. Rebels went to Piranmati and Kalayar Koil. They were again defeated by the forces of English. The rebellion failed and Sivagangai was annexed in 1801. Marudu brothers were executed in forts of Tirupattur near Ramanathapuram on 24th October 1801. Umaidurai and Savataya were executed in Panjalankuruchi on 16 November 1801. Some 73 rebels were exiled to Penang in Malaysia. Though Palayakarars fall into English hands, their exploits and services inspired later generations. Thus, the rebellion of Marudu brothers is called South Indian Rebellion, a landmark event in history of TN. Carnatic Treaty 1801. Under the terms of Carnatic Treaty of 31 July 1801 to the British, assumed direct control over Tamilagam and Palayakara system came to an end. Dhiran Chinnamalai, 1756 to 1805. Born as Tithagiri in 1756 in the Mandradiyar royal family of Palayakottai. He was well trained in Silambu, horse riding, and archery. He was in resolving family and land disputes in Kongu region. As this region was under the control of Mysore Sultan, tax was collected by Tipu's Diwan Muhammad Ali. Once when Diwan was returning to Mysore with tax money, Tithagiri confiscated the money. He let Muhammad Ali to go by instructing him to tell Sultan that Chinnamalai, who is between Sivamalai and Chennimalai, was the one who took away the taxes. Thus he gained the name Dhiran Chinnamalai. The offended Diwan sent a contingent to the attack Chinnamalai, and both the forces met and fought on the Noyal River's bed. Chinnamalai emerged victorious. Trained by the French, Dhiran mobilized Kongu youth to fight the British together with Tipu. After Tipu's death, Dhiran built a fort and fought against British without leaving the place. Hence the place is called Udanilai. Finally, English captured him and his brothers and kept in prison in Sangagiri. They refused to accept the British rule, so they were hanged at the top of the Sangagiri fort on 31st July 1805. Vellore Revolt 1806. Resistance did not lie down. Dispatched little kings and feudal chieftains continued to deliberate on future course of action against British. The outcome was Vellore Revolt of 1806. Main objective is low salary to British Indian Army, disrespect of religious sentiments, states of peasantry and famines. Same time, sons and family members of Tipu being interned in Velu Fort. The trigger for the revolt is the new military regulation notified by Commander Sir John Gaddock. According to it, soldiers should not wear any caste marks or earrings when in uniform. Clean drawer on clean shaven on chin and uniform mustache. New new turban was the leather cock made up of animal skin. Outbreak of the revolt. On 10 July 1806, in the early hours, guns were booming and the Indian sepoys of 1st and 23rd Regiments raised the standard of revolt. Colonel Fancourt, who commanded the garrison, was first victim. Colonel McCarras of 23rd Regiment was killed next. Major Armstrong, LTLE, Lieutenant Popham were killed. Gillespie's brutality. Major Coates informed Colonel Gillespie the country commanded in Arcot. The cavalry commanded in Arcot. Gillespie reached the fort along with cavalry under command of Captain Young at 9 a.m. In the meantime, the rebels proclaimed each other, Hyder, Tipu's eldest son, as their new ruler and hoisted the tiger flag of Mysore Sultan in the fort. But the uprising was swiftly crushed by the Colonel Gillespie, 800 dead in fort and 600 in prison. Tipu's son was sent to Calcutta. British officers were rewarded and Colonel Gillespie was given 7,000 pakodas. However, Sir John Craddock, the adjutant general Agnew and Governor William Bentinck were held responsible for the revolt and recalled to England. Those military regulations were withdrawn. Estimate of revolt. Velu revolt failed because there was no immediate help from outside. Sulaidas Sheikh Adam and Sheikh Hamid and Jamida Sheikh Hussein of 23rd Regiment and two Subedas perfectly organized the revolt. Velu revolt had all the of force bodying of Great Rebellion of 1857. Difference was that there was no civil rebellion following the Mustini. Velu revolt had its echoes in Ballari, Walajabad, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Nandidar and Sangagiri. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Welcome to Wings.